Yeah, I like this little thing you put together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Red Valkyrie Presents. I am, of course, Shae the Red. A little less red and a lot more stiff than normal.
Shae the undead mummy.
Yay! I'm going back to my zombie roots. But I'm, of course, here with Alex, aka CY.borg Valkyrie. How are you doing, Alex?
Awesome. Lovely Saturday.
Yes. Be better if I could move my jaw, but it's a little inhibited.
You pay the price for beauty.
It happens. It's fine. And I'm here, obviously, with Rob Muerto, that we have not had on in ages. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing even better now that I noticed that pinup over there that's framed in the background. From the first Tales from the Classroom.
So that's one of my favorite ones. I had to make sure I put it in there.
I'm flattered, yeah.
Yes.
I like that one a lot, actually. I wish we would have made it bigger, though, but, maybe next time.
You never know. But I definitely, it's one of my more favorite ones. So I very much love it. Very happy to have it. So we're back, and it's not for Tales from the Classroom 2.
No.
But for
1.5.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's perfect. The perfect way of putting it.
I was making the stream, and I'm like, so I started to title it "Tales from the Classroom 2," and the more I read of the campaign, I'm like, no.
This isn't.
No, it's not. This is not Tales from the Classroom 2. Actually, if you want full disclosure, these stories were originally meant to be featured in Tales from the Classroom 2, but they became so much bigger than they were originally conceived as that I figured they should live as their own separate book. And but they're designed basically to be read in conjunction with Tales from the Classroom 2 or in preparation for Tales from the Classroom 2.
Awesome.
So this just eases you in between 1 and 2.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh gosh.
And we have a trailer.
We do. I have a slight problem. Give me just 1 second. There we go. Okay. Whew. Sorry, I had it. Something popped up and covered my whole screen. It wouldn't go away.
It's one of them scammer pop-ups.
Yeah, we're good though. Here you go.
Don't call India.
Yeah, so that's my. I think that's my kind of trailer. That not to blow my own horn, but I thought Bronson Gorilla, who's the gentleman who put this trailer together, did a fantastic job. And it's my kind of trailer because I don't like them to go on for too long and to be too explanatory and stuff like that. I want them to be short and straight to the point and just give you a general conception or a feel of what the comic book will be like. And
Absolutely.
I think he achieved this very well.
I am not a Pikachu. How dare you? I am Mummy. I'm Pharaoh Mummy is what's happening in my world. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed. I remember when we had you on from Tales from the Classroom, the first book, and I remember thinking, okay, it's gonna be fun, but like, I just thought it was gonna be like a fun kind of whatever read. I ended up reading it, and it's been one of my favorite books that I've read that's come from CG. It was one of the biggest unexpected hits for me because the characters are written so well. The art style is done very well. It all fits and flows, and it's really easy to get like immersed in the story and what's going on. So I loved Tales from the Classroom 1. So I was super, super, super excited when I saw that you were doing this book.
Well, I appreciate it. I really appreciate
this one.
Yeah, and I think that you're going to enjoy this book even more because I think the art is even more solid. My writing certainly way better because the first Tales from the Classroom, the bulk of it was written 12 years ago, and I think I've progressed. I hope I've progressed immensely since then. And nothing. This is a little bit of a different vibe. It's not a continuation of the main story as we've already established, but it's several different vignettes based on characters that you will be familiar with, having read the first book.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're going to get to see and delve into the backstory of these characters, some of whom only had a brief appearances and one or two speaking lines, like Cletus, the school bus driver. Others who made more substantial cameos, like Joshua the Golem. And
doesn't he go through a bar mitzvah?
No, he doesn't. He has a little thing in a cafeteria with Drake, who's the main villain of the Tales from the Classroom story. Nice. And they're buddies, and you sort of see him like shake down a chupacabra in the opening scene. I don't know. I just think he's a funny character, and I figured we should readers would like to know more about him, and they'll get to do that with this book.
That's awesome. I've got to say, I love the art style, and I definitely feel like I can see an improvement from the first book, but it still has all the whimsy. It still has all of like the fun and the lightheartedness. And yeah, like Robert Romano said, this is some of the best colors because while they're maybe a little bit more on the muted side, the lighting effects that you have in this. What, Alex?
It's funny that you said they're a little more on the muted side because I was muted and talking this whole time. It was great. Shut up.
Yeah, like you really.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, that's fine.
You really show an understanding of lighting effects and the effect that has on localized color. Like so many people, and I'm so guilty of this too because I'm still learning. You're like, oh, an apple's red. So you make the apple red, and then the apple is just different shades of red to you. But if the apple's getting hit with the blue light, then parts of the apple are going to look purple, and like that all plays into this. And when you understand that and you can do it seamlessly, where everything kind of flows together and all of the colors and the artwork and everything just have that cohesion, it works so much better. And it's definitely something.
I don't want to take credit for any of the art. I'm just a writer in this.
Well, your artist that you got is a great one.
The artist that I got, can I give you the full scoop?
Let's hear it. Let's hear all of it, man.
It's actually you'll probably be familiar with it because it's the exact same team from Monster MD.
I knew it.
Who I was so
knew it.
Huh?
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that too. I was like, saying you said you're not the artist. I was like, it's going to be Monster MD.
And I was so impressed, and credit to Vaughn for finding this fantastic pairing, because not only is Monica McCagney, who's the artist of the line artist, not only is she amazing, but Tanya Wicker, the colorist, complements her line art in a really amazing way. I think that McCagney's always fantastic, but she's her art never looks as good as when it's colored by Tanya, and she gives it so much texture with and she gives it that animation, high quality animation look. That's exactly what I'm looking for Tales from the Classroom.
Absolutely. Well, and it has such a there's such a personality behind all of it, which is so amazing to see.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. See, this is what I was talking about.
So this is jarringly different. The art over here. It's by Matt Krotz, who I'm sure you're also familiar with.
Oh yeah.
He's the author of Kyrie,
Mm-hmm.
which is sort of like an indie comic sensation as well in its own right.
Oh yeah, and he also has helped out with what was the other books? Oh, why do I try talking? I forgot the name, so forgive me.
Yeah, he has his hands in a few projects, but keeps himself busy. But he's got a very loose, sort of more indie approach to his art that I thought would be a perfect complement to this particular story.
Absolutely.
Joshua the Golem. And it's a story that I wrote. It's called Quest for the Cosmic Dreidel. And it's about, it's a very off the wall story. It has some psychedelic trappings as well. It gets very kooky. But it's about a field trip where they go to an historic synagogue, and Joshua breaks away from the group and starts exploring the secret passages of this synagogue and goes on a quest to capture this thing called the Cosmic Dreidel.
So is that like the Jewish version of the Holy Grail?
No, it's a Jewish version of a die. The thing that they spin.
Mm-hmm.
I know what a dreidel is. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Calling it the Cosmic Dreidel makes it sound like a Holy Grail.
Is it made out of space clay?
Sort of like that, but you know how Two-Face has that dualistic thing where he spins the coin in whichever side it lands on.
Yeah.
Well, this is like that, but like more options, basically.
More than black and white.
More than black and
white for Joshua.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, hello, Doris. It's wonderful to see you. Doris has been popping in more and more. I appreciate you very much. Oh, we also have 24 Eyes. I haven't seen 24 Eyes in a while. It's good to see you as well, sir. And Replicant. There's so many people. I'm sorry. I haven't said hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Creators Outlet for Venice, Robert Romano, Warren, Mogwai. I think that's everybody. Yeah. Apex. What's up, Apex? All right. Anyway, back to this. So
that's everyone that said hi. And then there are the lurkers.
If you don't say hi, I can't say hello back. I'm just saying. So say something in the chat if you're hanging out. Warren says that he likes kooky. I honestly, your writing is just fun. It's just fun to read, and you've got a way of kind of capturing that whole all the pitfalls and the stuff that sucked about high school, but then they're all monsters, so it's compounded. The very beginning where he is this new student in, and he is oh man, I can't even talk, gosh, I'm so stupid, and the guy's bro, have you eaten today? You have to have brains, you can't just walk around without them. Come on, man. And he just goes and helps him, and I'm I've been in the same situation like that without the brains aspect, where you go to say something and you're oh, I'm so stupid. And they're like, no, man, let's just come over here and hang out for a little bit. Just get some food. You'll be fine. And, like,
You
and then
need
you're like, oh, I'm
you
just really hungry. Like, I'm good.
need an espresso to function. These days.
Exactly. Did
Yeah.
you have an energy drink? Take this.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm so excited for this. All right, so you've got this, like, who came up with the design for this witch?
Mhm. Well, Sebastian Brunito did the original, the artist of the original book.
Mm-hmm.
So credit to him. I think it's a super design. Actually, it's his best design out of.
It
out of
is.
characters for me. My favorite.
It is so disturbing. Like it does such a good job of being just
Because
so disturbing.
what I had envisioned originally, my notes was basically because this is the Tales from the Classroom universe. There are no humans in it. There's only monsters. I knew that the witch had to be a radical departure from. It couldn't look human, basically, you know.
Uh-huh.
And because humans do exist, but as figments of their imagination, and to them, humans are repulsive. You know, so there's that inversion going on.
Mm-hmm.
Have a witch that looked very human-like. So my idea was to do it like sort of like Ridley Scott's Legend. You know, like you remember that witch, the hag there? She has like super deformed features with a super long nose. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
But he came up with this, which is even better.
Yeah, I love it because you never actually like fully see her face.
Right.
Like she is always in shadow, and at most you'll
Wow,
see like the point of her chin, the tip of her nose,
Yeah.
glowing eyes, and creepy ass teeth, and that's all. Like that's the most you ever really get to see of her.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
I love about it. And I thought Krotz did a pretty good job at doing her as well.
Yeah, those teeth, man, those teeth freak me out.
Yes.
It looks like if you know, when you were a kid, you made like the little paper fringe. It looks like if you did that and then just like ran your hand along it and just go in every which possible way. Oh my gosh.
So that's what Josh, you were seeing over there. Like he finds this this secret passage and embarks on this adventure that's full of twists and turns and lots of surprises. And it's really like it's an experimental story, and I'm very proud of it actually.
It looks awesome. I'm really excited to read this. So, in this anthology, are you doing like different artists for various stories, or is this one of the only ones that has a different artist?
And this is in this anthology, like so we just went through Monica McCagney, right? Who's doing the Tale of Videotep, which, by the way, we should mention was not written by me. It was written by Von Klaus, so it's fully the team of Monster MD.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool.
And this one called The Quest for the Cosmic Dreidel, which is written by me, art by Matt Krotz. And then the next one, which also has a new art team,
awesome,
also written by me. And the art team is Maxi Dallo, who's an Argentinian sensation. Mm-hmm. And he did a supplemental story in the Kill Journal, which was a big book that came out, I think last year.
I have a supplemental story in there too.
Oh yeah? You do?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
You wrote it or you drew it?
No, I wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it. Amazing.
I wrote Marty's backstory.
Okay, so I backed that book, so I'm looking forward to reading it.
Well, after you read it, you have to let me know what you think.
I will, but I caught wind of his art because I saw like glimpses of the supplemental story that he did, which I believe was written by Brian Kriskow.
Yeah, that story was super fucked up and heartbreaking. And Maxi really captured just how fucked up it was. Like, bruh, such a messed up story that Brian wrote, but it was it really helped explain that character and made you feel really, really bad for him.
Yeah. So
But
the
yeah.
Kill Journal, I think the Kill Journal is pretty messed up and
It
in
is.
its premise, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
But a
mean,
fun read. I'm not throwing shade on it or anything. It looks like a great book. That's why I backed it.
oh, it's gonna be insane. Everything that I've seen of it, everything I've read of it is. There's a reason when Adam was like, "Hey Shae, do you want to write a backstory?" I was like, "Yes!" Instantly. Oh my gosh, please let me. And he's like, "I think you'd be good for Marty." And I was like, "Ah, it's my favorite character. Okay, great. I can't wait." And I was like, "I'm gonna make it really tragic though." And he was like, "Okay." Brian might have outdone me. Brian really, gosh, that fucked me up reading his thing. But yeah, Sai, you still haven't read it, have you? Like, I'm trying to watch the stream from Walmart. Damn it, Ollie.
Which one? Kill Journal?
Yeah, you still haven't read it, have you?
I looked over the artwork and I read what you gave me, but I haven't read more than
So
that.
you haven't read like Brian's back? Okay. Look, the Kill Journal is definitely worth your time.
I just read your section.
Yeah, that's fair.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
No, none of us have. Like the digitals were coming out.
I'm not spoiling it. I'm waiting till I have the physical in my hand, because if I back a book for $50, I'm waiting for the book that's $50.
That's fair. Brains tacos.
Well, I thought that Maxi was appropriate for this particular story because it takes place in Rob's old haunt, Zombieville. And where it's just like it's a town like exclusively populated by zombies, basically. And it's a story that's about his time in Romero High, back when he was the coolest and most popular kid in school. Well, it's actually not back. It's before that, so it's like how he became the most popular. That's what the story revolves around is ascendancy to numero uno, basically. In Romero High.
That's awesome.
Prior to going to transferring to K Thulu High, the multi-species high school, in Tales from the Classroom, the main volume, and being bottom rung again, basically.
That's awesome. So in this, you've got, is it those 3 stories that are taking up the 50 plus pages?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Fantastic. So see, that's the other thing that worries me. I've backed a couple of anthologies because I'm working on my own, and I'm noticing a couple of major pitfalls. One of the biggest pitfalls of anthologies is way too little time spent on the stories, where you're like, here's a story, and right as it starts to get good, we're going to stop it, or we're going to rush through a bunch of details that are actually necessary for you to know what's going on, just so we can hit like a smaller page count. And
here's a story. It's 2 pages.
Yep.
We hope you enjoy it.
I literally read a story that was like 4 pages long, and it was, I don't know what happened.
3.9 pages of setup. And
it
then
was
a
just
sentence.
So fast. And then I've had other stories in anthologies that are 8 or 9 or 10 pages long, and it's literally, there was a bee in a dude's apartment. And he was like freaked out that there was a bee in his apartment. And I was like, these are both horrible. Like, this is not how you do this. And so
that sounds like that Breaking Bad episode that, where the guy was trying to kill a fly for like an entire episode.
So this guy manages to somehow get to a comic convention, buy a full plate armor and sword and shield, and then go back into his apartment to battle what is a normal small bee. And this was in like a horror anthology where they could do anything. And I was like, he's going to open the door and it's at least going to be a giant fucking bee. It's at least going to be something. No, it was just a regular bee. There's a guy that was terrified of bees.
Trying to subvert expectations, right?
It was fucking terrible. I was so pissed after it. I was like, I want my money back. Like, for this one story in a book that has like 30, I want my money back for this one story.
Is this a CG book or no?
No. This was a, people were selling anthologies, and I went, let me try picking up a couple of them. And they weren't CG, they were just indie, and I was like, yeah, no. Just like, so it makes me happy that you've got 3 stories. You've got 50 plus pages. Like that means that you're gonna get to actually sit with these stories. You're not gonna get rushed through them. You're gonna get to really kind of enjoy them. Just like Tales from the Classroom, not a whole hell of a lot happened in the first book, but it felt like you went on a full day with these characters, and then you wake up the next day and it's like, okay, good setup, good cliffhanger for the next book.
Yeah.
But it really felt like you got to feel everything that happens in a day when somebody has one of those days. They get home and they're like, man, that was just a long day. Like you got to feel the weight of all of that, and that's the mark of a good writer. And having good layouts with good art is being able to feel like I went on an adventure. And so I'm really excited that you're doing this with 3 different stories, and that they're all going to be not like 4 pages long.
Yeah, and I love the concept of anthologies really appeals to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The idea that I can reach out to artists that I think, first of all, I admire, and second, that I think will be just the right person to flesh out this idea that I have germinating in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
And
exactly how
I identify those. It's just, for me, it's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I completely understand. That's exactly how I felt anytime I've written anything, and then I give it to an artist, and I was like, I want to see what your mind comes up with.
Yeah.
Like, if you were gonna draw a pinup of this, what would it be? And then the stuff I've gotten back has far exceeded my expectations, and were things that I would have never even thought of. Then I'm like, that's it. That's what it needs to be. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, and then another thing that's exciting to me is to see their interpretations,
right,
of my characters.
Exactly. That's you and I are on the exact same page, because that's exactly how I feel when it comes to the anthology that I'm trying to write. Is I'm reaching out to people that I think will do a good job with specific aspects, and I'm like, here's the main feel. Here's like, read this, and then you tell me what came to mind for you, because I love knowing how people's mind process things, and if it's not hitting what I want it to hit, it's because my language isn't appropriate enough, and I need to retool how I've written something. But it's so cool to see other people like come up with your creations and your characters, and you're like, yeah, I would have never drawn them like that, but that's awesome. This is so cool.
Yeah. So I think it was Matt Krotz actually that said, when I was looking at certain interpretations of Rob, I was worried that it was so drastically different that readers would check out. But what he said was like, I just think of it as a different actor playing the same character, which you often see. And actually, I did check out when Terrence Howard left. You remember War Machine? And they substituted him with Cheadle. Don Cheadle.
Yes.
I was like, man, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. It's like, I hate it when they do that, actually. But in comic books, I actually really like it. I don't know what readers will think, but for example, we're looking at an interpretation. Would you go up a little bit, please, Shae?
Go up.
Up. Down. It's one of the covers, not this one, but the next one. This one. Like this Rob is sort of goblin-ish,
Yeah. He's got more of an overbite. He's got more pronounced ears that are
more pronounced ears, more gaunt, angular features. But you can recognize him as tall. But you can recognize him as Rob. It's still Rob.
Absolutely.
The spirit is there,
Absolutely. Well, and I was just gonna say, like, this is immediately recognizable as your Golem character from the first book, and I love seeing him like this, because you see him like this and you're like, oh, bless him. Like, he's so sweet. And he really is like, he's like this gentle giant kind of thing where, like, don't fuck with him because he's still a golem, like, but he's not like the vampires that are constantly starting shit and then being like, what'd you get mad for, man? It's not my fault. Like, he's very neutral unless you mess with him, and then he'll like, all right, well, now I have to deal with you.
No, he hangs with some of the bad seeds, some of the jocks and the kids that are popular, but a lot of them are more mean-spirited. But he personally happens to be actually a very gentle sort.
Yeah, he's a sweet little guy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go over your perks so anyone who's watching can know what they can get if they back.
I decided I want to keep it very simple with this campaign. So there's not a lot of frills and not a lot of salad dressing to it. It's the book, and that's it. But when it comes to the variant covers, I think I'm trying to do something special with these because I'm treating them as effectively separate editions of the book. Because from a printer's perspective, they treat it as a separate edition. You know, like you pay for, if you change the cover, you're paying for a whole new book, basically.
Yeah,
So I might as well embrace that.
Everything.
Yeah, I might as well embrace that and try to make a radically different print job that reflects the cover.
Awesome.
And to make readers, enjoy the book that they bought and know that it's a special, unique thing.
Yeah, well, because when you did the first one, you had 3 different covers, and all 3 of your covers had different finishes.
And they did, yeah.
Feels.
But this time we're doing that, but we're taking that to the next level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how are you taking it to the next level?
So, like one of them, for example, the Tales from the Classroom cover that was done by Monica McCagney, which is inspired on. It's based on the Tale of Cleotep, which is one of the short stories that will feature in the book. It's got that ancient Egyptian theme, which you know so well, apparently. So we want to give it like a very dusty sort of feel. And I've done the research with Mixam and what they can do with it. And they can have like a soft touch lamination where you touch it, it feels like... it just feels like old, but velvety,
Yeah.
And in the interior, we're going to try to do thinner, brittle pages, like papyrus-like. Well, that's the idea anyway. And then in the interior, in the inside front cover and in the inside back cover, this is getting a little technical maybe for some of your viewers, but we're going to have unique art to those editions of the book, So, for example, I'm thinking of having Cletus presenting the title page in one of the editions, and Joshua in the other edition, and done by different artists.
Very cool.
So there's going to be things like that. It's still the same book. You're going to get the same content in terms of the story, but the presentation is going to be significantly different.
Awesome. What about wants to know how many stories are in this book? We did cover it, but let's say it again for people who just arrived.
No, 3.
How many? 3. So three stories, 50 plus pages in the book. So you're not getting super short stories. You're not getting crazy long. You're getting a nice in between, decent anthology size.
2 or 1 page each, and the other one's 48.
Oh God, that would be horrible. You'd be like one page.
There is one. The shortest story is the Tale of Cleotep. I actually wanted it to be longer, but Vaughn, who was writing it, was like, "No, man, I'm feeling good about this." Like, even though I was paying him per page, and he decided to cap out at 12.
Aww.
Yeah, but see, 12 is still a good size. Like the one that I wrote for Adam, he wanted us to do 6 pages. I got mine down to 7. I was like, I can't go less than 7. I was like, and if I'll take a hit in pay if I have to, so you can pay the artist to do the extra page, but I can't go down from 7 because it messes with the flow. And
but
the ones,
if you go down from 7, it's no longer like a short story. It's like it's a Twitter post or something.
well, and so that's the thing is, it's like he was doing 6, and I told him, I was like, don't worry about it. I like it at 7. He agreed and said it flowed better at 7. And what we ended up having was, I had people that had read it and messaged me, and they were like, I really like your story. I just wish that there was more. And I was like, me too, actually, but
Well, see, and that's the
I
thing.
appreciate
We're talking about the mummy chick, right? That's the story.
Yeah, it's not the mummy chick; it's the mummy driver, the school bus driver, who's like
Yeah.
a redneck type, but who students have the sense that he hides sort of like an epic past. He's like a sort of mysterious figure, and he does indeed. And Vaughn did a great job at fleshing that out and making
He looks
it
so sad.
and saying it.
I wouldn't say he looks sad. I'd say he looks like he's ready to murder somebody.
No, I mean in the cover right there, he's
Right here.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Morose.
Okay. Agree to disagree. I think he looks like he's gonna murder people.
you racist against mummies.
Well, he's you know what it is. Cletus is a great heart, but his fatal flaw is that he struggles with rage, and that's one of the elements of the character that I think super funny. That a school bus driver just has constant road rage and rage in general.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a nice guy otherwise.
Yeah, I am excited to hear more about him because he is so brief in the first one, but he has so much character in him. So it's really like, I can't wait to hear more of his like epic backstory. I think it's going to be awesome. And knowing that Vaughn wrote it is even more exciting because Vaughn is a fantastic writer and he's really good at making characters, just like you are. He's really good at making characters feel like real people. So I'm excited to see.
Vaughn's such a great idea, man. You know, I think he's one of the top, just a very imaginative creator. And
he has one hell of an imagination. That is for damn sure. All right, so you're offering a digital edition for $8.
$8 just for this book, and then if you missed out on the first book, your best option is to get the.
What happened?
Are you still there? Rob,
Yeah.
might have muted.
Are you here?
There you
Yeah.
All right. All right, you're definitely here. I was out for a second. All right. So digital deluxe. If you missed out on the first one, this is your best option, as I was saying. And yeah, so it includes the original as well as this book.
Awesome. All right, and then you have the McCagney variant
And the McCagney variant.
by itself. And
The Ozgur Yildirim. It's tough to pronounce, but he's a Turkish artist who's very accomplished. Actually, he's like a Marvel and Image contributor. He worked on Loki and Kick-Ass and a bunch of like big titles. And he did this fantastic cover that we're gonna really spiff up with the very slick, glossy type cover, very thick pages. It's gonna look great. It's
Awesome.
totally, like I said, a totally different feel than the other edition.
right. So, no chance to get a physical version of issue 1, correct?
No, but I like that, honestly. I like that it's the people that did get it have a special thing, and maybe it'll increase in value for them. And who knows? In the future, if Tales from the Classroom becomes like a major property, like hang on to your copies of the book.
I think it'd be really cool after you've got maybe like book 3 of Tales from the Classroom to look at doing an omnibus where you combine 1, 2, 3 and this book with all of the anthologies and whatever you might do in that universe in between.
You know what? Listen, I've thought about that, and I have some plans in regards to that.
Awesome.
And I'm thinking of even remastering the first book with a new artist, with a new classroom artist. So we'll see. Like, but that's much further down the line.
Oh yeah, that's a ways down. I totally understand that. So the other thing I'm noticing, so I'm assuming your artists, if I remember correctly, they're digital artists. Like they don't do physical art ever.
I think so. I think it's fully digital. Monica. By the way, my main artist is now Monica McCagney and Tanya Wicker. That's the team. I've co-opted them from Monster MD, basically. And,
that's fantastic.
And they're now the Tales from the Classroom team.
Well, something to consider, because you do have very, very affordable tiers, but you don't have any like big whammies. And this is an IP that is a lot of fun. There's a lot of really fun characters and interesting looking characters. If you were able to get, whether it's Monica or not, if you were able to get original art, whether, you know, have people do head sketches that, you know, they can offer up or something like that, but something where you could charge a little bit more, and people could get original like art of your characters, which is something that a lot of people, especially in our audience, we have a lot of collectors who like to purchase original artwork, specifically pages, but pages can be difficult if they're purely digital artists, because that involves a lot more work on their part. But if they're willing to do sketch cards or something like that you could offer up, or if you had some artists friends within, you know, the indie community that you wanted to go and hit up. I know Preston does a lot, Passion does a lot. There's a lot of really good artists out there. I think adding some of that to this will help you get even higher. Like your goal is already met.
My goal was like purposely
slow.
Yeah, like super low, so I could just blast through it quite quickly. But I will say this: it petered out a little bit, the amount of backers I was getting. But the first 2 days were like way better than the first campaign, and I'm on track to do much better as well.
Absolutely.
If I do a couple thousand more than the first campaign, I'm a happy camper. And the idea is to keep doing that with each campaign and to build and build and build. And one of these days, EVS will be eating my trail marks, eating my dust.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is like we want to see people do better each time. I'm letting you know that something I've noticed that a lot of people like, and I know CY can back me up on this. Obviously, Corvenus, he is one of them in the chat that loves buying original art. So does Eric, so does Nefarious. Like a lot of people are looking to try and get their hands on some original pieces. If you were able to get a couple of like sketch cards that you put up as individual sketch cards or head sketches or something like that, inks of the covers, any of those kinds of things, and then put them up on the campaign page, it's not only going to help your campaign obviously get higher funding, but you're giving people something that is like you're talking about with the way that you're printing up your books. You're getting an exclusive. You're getting something that nobody else can get. Yeah. And it's going to be centered around your IP, your characters, which I think a lot of people would love, because these are such fun characters that you have.
Yes.
You know, I've even thought about commissioning. First of all, I like your ideas. For the second book, for Tales from the Classroom 2, it's going to be a lot more flowery in terms of campaign, full of like surprises and add-ons like that. Than this one. I wanted this to, keep it quite simple.
Right.
Because the primary purpose of this campaign is also to remind people that Tales from the Classroom exists.
Right. Because it has been a little bit since the first book.
It has been a little while since the first one.
Yeah.
The production on Tales from the Classroom 2, all of it is done in terms of line work and, pencils and inks. But Tanya Wicker, who's a fabulous colorist, she works a little slower, So, and she'd done a lot of work for this book. Uh, so it just takes her some time.
Yeah.
So while she's working and finishing those pages,
Mhm.
while the production on Tales 2 is going, I wanted to get this out there to whet people's appetite for the main event.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a really smart way to do it, especially because they're standalone anthologies that just have to do with the characters. And so if you missed Tales from the Classroom the first time, because that was kind of a sleeper hit, like you didn't do bad, but
That was more of a sleeper than a hit.
like a lot of people didn't expect a whole lot from it because nobody knew who you were, nobody knew the caliber of your writing, or if these characters were actually going to be done well, because there's so many people doing so many things with monsters and zombies and things like that. And it was like, I mean, is it going to fall flat or is it going to be good? And it turned out to be such a fun experience. I think a lot of people are kicking themselves, just like Sugar Chris was saying, I missed out on the first one and I'm really like kind of bummed that I did. So I've got to back this one before it's done because you have that digital tier so I can read the first book. I think
that's good, and it's this is a great opportunity for you to jump in the ship and join the ride.
Absolutely.
And what with the last with this campaign, I'm actually very flattered that there's so many return. I hate calling them customers, but return readers. People back, people that.
Well, it was a really, really fun book, and it was just really well put together. And I think that, especially if you look at the time and the kind of books that were coming out when your book came out, right? Your book was so drastically different in quality, care, and writing than so many of the other books that were coming out from people that are just starting out, that don't understand, haven't spent time with their characters or developed a story. Creators Outlet says no patches. And of course, Eric is saying, don't talk about patches. Eric, shut up. We love patches.
And we love Eric, but shut up.
Yes, we love you, Eric, but shut up. Consider
tough
patches
love
for book 2. I'm just saying, Rob.
Yeah.
Like as a
I will,
stretch.
yeah, of course, yeah, I will. Yeah. I'm thinking of doing posters. I'm thinking of doing.
It's a high school, right? Put like their mascot and like. Yeah,
oh my
like
gosh,
a school
like
patch.
a school patch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Like what you would see on their varsity jacket or whatever.
And we got such a cool logo, for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Holy shit, that'd be really cool.
It would.
But yeah, like the thing is you came out when a lot of people were trying their hand at this that hadn't put in the amount of effort that you'd put in, that hadn't really, that were doing this like as a fun, let's see if they'll succeed or not. And I think that was the only thing that really kind of held you back as far as getting more backers, is because there were so many people and it was like, yeah, they're all kind of we're not so sure. But a lot of people after were talking about Tales of the Classroom and not the other, but like I can't even remember what half the other books were. They were coming out at the same time as yours, but this is one that this and Mary Boys were two of the first indie comics I got.
Great. I love
and
Mary
totally blew me out of the water. I did not expect them to be as entertaining and for me to have as much fun with those books as I did. Your book and Mary Boys totally shocked the hell out of me, and I was like, I am in. Like, I am so in for these rides.
I was super surprised by Mary Boys, and it's such a cool book. And first of all, the art is fantastic. Great writing as well. And even like the presentation, how it's like a large format.
All
book.
of it was just way more than I expected.
Such cool personality,
Yes. But see, and you have the same kind of thing. You have very good personality and really awesome characters, like I've been saying this whole time. So I think that doing this is a great way for people who missed out on the first to kind of dip their toes in, but also for you to get a bunch of new readers that just, that it came later to the scene, that didn't know about Tales from the Classroom. and now they can kind of get a feel for the characters and what you're putting together. So when you do Tales from the Classroom 2, you should have a much bigger audience.
I hope so. Yeah, that's the idea. Anyway, I'm very excited about both books, but and I'm very excited about the critical response to this book as well. I'm very eager to see how people respond.
I'm excited to read it.
The first book, the great reward that I felt was obviously not monetary, because I sort of operated at a loss with the first book, and may do so as well with the second one. But it's a labor of love, and the thing that was highly rewarding to me was seeing how much people enjoyed it across the board.
Yeah. I honestly didn't hear. I can't think of hearing anybody saying like, "Oh yeah, I really didn't enjoy that." Like everybody that I know that read it and got it were super impressed by the writing and the art quality, the various covers. Like you were I think you were probably the first book that I know of that actually did that velveteen soft touch cover. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, my most favorite cover out of all of them, and that's the one that you chose that cover for. I was like, oh, it's so pretty. It feels so nice.
Yeah.
It was great.
And I did a little bit of a soft, what do you call it, a spot gloss UV thing on the logo with one of the editions.
Yep.
But I want to have it much more spiffed up for these two books. I want them to be raised lettering.
Ooh, nice. So, embossed.
Embossed, yeah. We're looking into that as well.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
CY, do you have any questions for Rob? Are you paying attention?
No.
No.
Yes, I'm paying attention, asshole.
That was a very Rob. Help settle an argument. Was that a very long pause?
I think
I was thinking of questions.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so mean.
That was an incredibly long pause.
For fuck's sake. Shae left.
Oh, was she angry?
No, I kicked her.
Oh, yeah. Oh man. Some drama.
She gave me the mummy finger.
I gave you both of them. 2 mummy fingers.
There are only 2 mummy fingers because the rest have rotted and fallen off.
Yeah. So just to keep along with the idea that you were talking about Shae with the first campaign. I think the big challenge for me with this one is going to be promotion. Which I'm not very good at. I need to get that down. I'm thinking of maybe hiring like a marketing person.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what our side business is?
You know what?
You know what our side business is?
Yeah.
Oh, you do
marketing and promotions for comic campaigns.
Let's talk.
We'll talk backstage. It's literally what we do.
Backstage, exactly.
Corvina says, wait a sec, you can only get book 1 in digital form. So sad. Yes, that is in fact true. I'm putting the mummy curse on you. Yes. Better watch out.
Well, it is
okay.
But digitally.
In campaign 2, all right, not 1.5, which is what this is, but in campaign 2, will you offer book 1 physical again or just digital?
In campaign 2, will I offer book 1 physically? I have to consider it. I'm going to consider it because there's so many people demanding it. But the thing is, I'm trying to distance myself from the first book as well, because the art team is different than the one that's taken the reins basically, and yeah.
So I would look at it 2 ways. One, if you offer it physically again, you can always get a different cover. So have your new art team do a different cover for it, and so the ones from the original campaign are still collector's items and original. And then if you hit a certain point, you can always make a stretch goal to have book one remastered, but understand that is going to extend your timeline pretty drastically.
Right.
So it would be something to consider, but I think that you can probably get away with still having book one with the old creative team as a reprint with a new cover. And then when you get down the line, after you've done like book 3, 4, whatever, you decide that you're going to combine it together in an omnibus, then remaster book one.
Yeah.
And you can probably get away with that for a good while. Like, it wasn't bad. It's just a different art team.
Yeah.
I think we've seen like other creators get into like book 3 or 4 on different art teams each time and still re-release them. So I don't think it's going to come across as like shady or anything like that.
Not at all. Yeah, and then
I'm looking at it. It's just there's a lot of people asking me behind the scenes, like, can I get book one? And yeah, I have plenty of copies of book one with me.
Well, there you go.
So I mean, that's the thing, is you could always just do, this is a limited release of edition 1, and once those are gone, like they're gone, and you can do like version 2 or like print 2 of the same book on the inside and just do a different cover on the outside.
Yeah.
And then later down the line, get to the point where, all right, we're going to totally remaster. Yep. Just like
this is the exact one I was thinking about, but I just didn't have the name on the tip of my brain.
Yeah. Rob Muerto.
It's hard when you're releasing books that do interconnect when you don't offer the previous books, just because new readers who didn't know you then are going to be discouraged from wanting to back because they don't want to back in the middle of the story.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, and there's so many. The thing about this niche audience that's the indie the comics crowdfunded scene is that there's a lot of completionists as well. You know.
Yes.
And
there's so many artists or collectors around.
Yeah. They get like super angry if like they can't get. So yeah, I get that. Yeah. So
yeah,
I'll reconsider it for sure.
Awesome. And Corvinus, I'm just going to throw this out there. At least get the digital so you can read it. It's worth it. It is very good. Very, very good. Well, Rob, is there anything else that you wanted to let all of us know about before we wrap up? Ollie, thank you for coming in the 11th hour as usual.
Replay's the thing. We appreciate your replay numbers.
Was there anything else that you want to talk about?
I'm actually excited about ending the stream and talking business.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I mean, on that note, I kind of feel like we got stuff to talk about, guys. So thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you, as always, to Alex for all of your amazing work that you do behind the scenes.
Quite welcome. Thank you, Mummy Lady.
I try. Thank you so much to everybody hanging out in the chat. We love you guys as always. Do not forget to go back. Tales from the Classroom, the Cthulhu Files. Great anthology from a great creator. Something that I think you will really, really enjoy. And I can't wait to get my copy. So make sure that you go back, Rob, and we will see you guys next time. Check you later.
Bye.
Bye.